Hello YouTubers, and thank you for watching. Today we're going to put a starter on John, which is a 4230. Hope y'all can see that. I guess I'm recording. Let's walk on the back side and I'll do it that way. Yep, 4230. There's a starter. Now, John Deere in their infinite wisdom put a 3-bolt starter on it, which is good. 3 bolts are better than 2. But why did they want to put a bolt all the way on the very back there? You got one here, one there. If they'd have put it down here at the bottom where you could have got to it, that would have been easy, or somewhere, but no, they wanted to put it up here at the top. So anyway, this little black wire that you see running right here is my borescope. And right there is the nut that I got to take off. Now to take that off, you got to be creative. That's the thing about John Deere's. Most people that have John Deere's are creative. You wind up, if I can get it out, it's a chore to fish in there. Well, my battery's about dead, so I'm gonna have to talk fast. Anyway, you put a crow's foot on, which is this little fella right here, on a long extension with another extension. And then after you get that on there, you put this swivel on there, so that gets you out here where you can turn your ratchet and actually take the nut off. My battery's about dead, so I'm going to have to cut it here and show you when I get it off. Alright, talk to you in a little bit. Welcome back, viewers. To y'all, it's just been a few seconds. For me, it's been a whole week and a day. Found out they couldn't rebuild my starter, so I had to get a new one. This is a brand new one, made in Rim in USA, it says on it, right there. Of course it's upside down, y'all, because I got it laying so it don't roll off the step. But anyway, it's got to go back in that hole. Now, for those of you who don't know, on the 4230, this is what they call a wet clutch, which means it's got hydraulic fluid in it, and you got to have a gasket that goes on here. Unfortunately, they didn't send me a gasket with this one, so I'm going to have to use my old one. And as bad as I hate to, I'm going to have to use this. I'm not a big fan of silicone sealer, but this is going to stop up any little cracks that I got going around or whatever. So there's really not a good place to put you while I wrestle this big thing, because this starter, that's cast steel or cast iron. No, it's machined, it's steel. It's cast steel. I'd say that starter weighs about 110, 112 pounds, and I weigh $165. So it's going to be a chore to get that thing picked up, put over here, and put on that stud. I didn't get my boat started and not move my gasket around or anything else. So after I get it started on there, I'll let y'all see. Oh, and by the way, I was telling you I used the crow's foot. Well, me and my brain come up with a better idea. I welded a socket, an old socket I had that was cracked on the end. I cut it off, welded it on a piece of all thread, put me a square nut on it so I can get my fingers on it. Works pretty good. I mean, it fits right on there, and you can turn it with your fingers. So I'll get this thing stuck on there, and then we'll give you a picture of in progress. Alright, then let me get started. Okay, YouTubers, I got it in. Well, I didn't get it in. I helped. Had to call one of my neighbors, Pam's husband, Jimmy. You remember Pam, the lady I take hay to. They just live down the road here. he come over and picked this big son of a buck up, stuck it in that hole while I put that boat in, and then he put that boat in, and we still got to get that little bitty boat back there. But unfortunately, my oscilloscope battery is dead, so I'm going to have to go charge it up. So we're going to have to wait for a few minutes on that. And while we're waiting for that to charge up, I'm going to go ahead and take this battery out. John Deere in their infinite wisdom come out with 2 6s instead of 1 12. Well, 2 6s in series has 700 cold cranking amps. You put them in series, and that way you get 12 volts. You can get a Group 31. It's got about 950, yeah, 950, and it'll fit right inside this little battery box with about that much room to spare. But we'll get that put in, and then I'm going to have to measure and figure out where to put my ground cable. I'm seriously thinking about this spot right here. I'm just thinking about it. A lot of people said connect it to your starter, but there ain't much room between that starter and that boat head to put a lug on. And the starter's got a gasket on it, so you're really just grounding out to the middle of the starter, and the starter's into the bell housing, which this is in the block of the motor. So yeah, I'm leaning more toward this than I am toward that, but we'll see how it goes. I got to measure and go get me some cables, so I'll have to come back to this. I gotta go charge it up, my oscilloscope or my borescope. Oscilloscope sitting in there on the wall. But and for those of you who don't know what an oscilloscope is, Google it. Yeah, so that's where we're standing, or sitting, or leaning, or laying down on the job, or whatever you might be doing. All right, I'll be back. Welcome back, YouTubers. Of course, y'all, it's just been a few seconds. To me, it's been a day and a half. I got rained out yesterday, so I had to finish it up this morning. But anyway, as you can see, the battery's in there with the strap down. I really ought to take that off, sand it, and paint it, but I don't have time today. New cables. I'll run them in a wire loom as soon as I get a chance. But new starter put on. I still got my borescope back there. And I'm glad I made this video, because I forgot to hook up a wire. That wouldn't have worked very well. It probably goes to something important. Anyway, just a few things I want to point out. Remember, this is a wet clutch. You need a gasket between your starter and your bell housing. If you don't, you will be leaking hydraulic fluid. Second thing is, you need to take the front off your battery box to put this battery in. It's a C31 or Group 31. It'll fit nicely, but you do have to take the front of the battery box off to get it in, which ain't no big deal. It's just one little bolt right there, and slides back this way. You got a couple of little tabs that are welded on right there, and right there's a couple of little tabs welded on. That's all it is. But anyway, as always, thank you for watching. Please rate, comment, and subscribe. We'll talk to y'all later. Bye.